Hi, this is Danny Neifert, and I am the creator of Skin Harmonics, the very first Medi-Holistic skin resurfacing method. And today's video is going to be something that is long overdue, something I've been meaning to do for a while, is just kind of the method behind the madness, or the beauty, if you will, of Skin Harmonics. So when a lot of new people first dip their toe or discover Skin Harmonics, there's a lot of confusion that happens because folks are just like, well, what is going on? Like, where are your normal anti-agers that I'm so used to seeing? And why do you do the things the way that you do? And, some of these major strategies and ingredients just aren't showing up in Skin Harmonics, and it can be a little disorienting. So I wanted to just kind of do a quick overview of everything that's behind Skin Harmonics, because it kind of this whole system of mine definitely breaks the mold, if you will. Like, I had to completely undo everything that I started when I first began aesthetics years and years ago. There was a slow unraveling of things, and now I do things completely and entirely differently. So this is I'm going to kind of run through a list about things that are different about Skin Harmonics, just to help people, just be a little maybe less confused when you stumble upon, or you have a friend take you to the Skin Harmonics website. So I think there's so many things I want to say right now, but I think where I'm going to just have to begin, right? One of the most fundamental things about Skin Harmonics is that there is this movement away from toxic trauma loops, and I'll maybe define that a little bit more later in this video. There's like an exiting of these little loops that we get into if we follow the conventional map. And there's also a lot of there's just not a lot of products that don't make sense to use. So there's a lot of what I call nonsensical skincare products that really, there's no point to them. So there's an absence of a lot of things in the Skin Harmonics skincare line, because the truth is we just don't need them. And then lastly, and this is the most important one that I'll touch on over and over again, is that the long-term results is why this is all worth it. We're headed to a completely different place with this Medi-Holistic methodology than if you were just purely following the natural route, which what I am does completely actually qualify for natural. But it's like this fusion between medical and natural, because the dermal nutrients are holistically engineered. Like, it's something that I can't make in my kitchen. I've made everything in my kitchen for 30 years, and there's a special technology to these patented dermal nutrients. So there is this final destination that we're going that is worlds better than where the conventional skincare system fails us, quite honestly. So there's a movement away from those things, and there's this really deep belly movement towards real nourishment, and also towards deep, profound healing that's possible with our lives, with our bodies, and of course with our skin. There's so much healing potential that is just kind of untapped until now, by supporting our skin's natural processes rather than working against it. So it's this movement towards deep healing, towards nourishment, and of course, lastly, it's this, again, the final results are that we're able to delay aging in a superior way. So that's where we're moving, in the direction of Skin Harmonics, like the things we're moving away from and the things we're moving towards in a very meaningful way. And so and I have different branches of Skin Harmonics in a certain sense, where branch number one is skincare products. There's a whole thing behind that. I have a whole sequence and very specific products around my skincare line. And the second thing is I give in-person sessions. I have one paid service, and that's deep pore cleansing. So it's my signature session, and essentially all I do in my sessions is clean out skin, like perfectly and deeply. So that's the second branch of Skin Harmonics. And then lastly, the third is education, and it's new education. It's a relearning of how to be with our skin in a way that takes us to this better place, that where we're not always going backwards and settling for short-term illusions, and not settling for short-term tricks or hacks that don't benefit us in the long run. So it's those three major parts of Skin Harmonics. Now, I'll start off with my skincare line. There's a lot of details to cover. I'm not going to cover them all. But when I created this skincare line, it was long overdue because I had my hands in skin formulating, for 20 plus years. I had at that point, this was more than that ago, but I had a lot of opinions that started emerging around ingredients and the things that I was trying to find and make, and I couldn't find them, and I couldn't always make them the way that I was originally taught and how I originally learned. So the short story is these are my priorities as this new skincare line of mine emerged. And the number one reason was, again, results. Like there was a really good reason that I undid everything that I did for the first part of my career, because I saw what the power of these patented dermal nutrients could do for our skin, and I wanted to magnify that. I wanted to just see like how far I could get, the power of that into people's skin, how I could get it penetrated, how I could get it optimized, how I could it's more than just increasing an ingredient. My whole skincare line has a synergized effect. And the number one reason that I started reinventing skincare products as I knew them was number one, results, effectiveness. And then the second priority that I had was I wanted it to be natural. I know it's like natural actually wasn't my first priority. Number one was effectiveness. Close second was natural, right? Like I wanted it to be something that wasn't like Agent Orange or something completely synthetic or something that just wasn't natural, because natural is so powerful. It's kind of a no-brainer. So the second priority was something that was natural. And of course, I wanted products that were pure, organic, medical grade, top of the top of the top. And I also wanted to choose preservatives that were 100% natural as well. Like, why take something, so wild and powerful as dermal nutrients and as these different essences and elements, and then ruin them, in my world, with a synthetic preservative. And we've come a long ways in the last 5 years even that allowed me to do that. So, the good thing here is that us consumers are voting with our dollars. I'm a skincare consumer right along with you as I've learned about all of this. So that's a really good thing that there are natural preservatives now that are more available, and they're more expensive. Totally worth it in my book, completely and 100% worth it. And then the next priority was simplicity. Like, it needs to be practical. This needs to be something that we can do in the midst of our lives, where, we have so many things to do, that it has to be practical. Like, we can't be some of the ladies that have come to me and how we've had to rework their skin routine. What a relief. What a relief. Some of these skin routines that I've had to readjust over the years, they're like mini small part-time jobs, really. I mean, I don't have time to spend 30 minutes on my skin every night, but some of these skincare routines that I've had to rework are incredibly complicated and completely unnecessary. I mean, trust me on that, okay? So simplicity was a really big deal for me. And simplicity in a good way, where we're actually getting more. We're not doing a lot of wasted moves and wasted ingredients, so that was a huge priority for me. And that came in at, I guess that was number 4. So number 5, I've lost track, sorry, is the next one. Let's see. So the first one was effectiveness, and then I wanted purity, and then we went to simplicity. So 4, yeah, it was eco-friendly. In this way, specifically where I'm doing bulk refills, which means I wanted to find a tangible way to end single-use containers. Now, single-use containers in all industries, I think, is just awful. But the irony that in the beauty industry, there is so much plastic in single-use containers, to me just almost feels unbearable, and an irony that I just can't take. So I really, really wanted to do something with a bulk system in place so that we could end as much plastic as possible. I do still have 2 of my products in plastic. Everything else is in glass. And the bulk refills are all in glass so that we can refill the same containers. And, I will send out new labels. I will replace the tops, the bottoms. I will make good on those origin sets that I sell to keep them on the road, because it's still so worth it not to be routinely throwing away containers every month. Like, it's just so unnecessary. So that was another huge priority for me. And then the last one is cost. I mean, cost, unfortunately, is a thing that we all have to figure out. And so I was able to work in cost as much as I can, that priority of keeping costs low as much as I can, by trying to meet the minimums, which, by the way, as a little guy, the minimums are insane amounts of quantity for me. So most skincare labs and manufacturers will not create a product in less than 10,000 quantity. So this is a huge hurdle for somebody like me, because but I just did everything I could to gather up the sources, to buy containers in bulk and to at the minimums, and buy the raw materials at the industry minimums to keep price down as much as possible. And this also plays into the bulk system, because by refilling in bulk and I'm making things in bulk, this is where my cost is cut, and this is where your cost is cut. And I know it's more upfront, because it was a lot more for me upfront too. But this is where we get to move things around so that for the purpose of being able to put at the very top of the priority list effectiveness and purity. So that has been very much worth it for me personally. And so that was what I was thinking as it took me the many years of scheming and plotting late at night, in my bed, all the places I've been where I've, really trying to cook up how I was going to pull this off. How can I make medical grade, small batch, because I'm, not Revlon, high-end quality skincare that, isn't $1 million. So, and that's the other thing to speak to is that my skincare is not the cheapest. However, if you compare it to what happens, what you would be billed and what you would be expected to buy at a dermatology office or a medical spa, my stuff is cheaper. And it's way more affordable. And you're getting something that you can't get there. And you're getting something that's it's light years ahead of what they're offering. So anyways, that was kind of like going down the list with what I was thinking when I was, weighing so many choices, in dialing in final formulas and final containers. Also, COVID made it super challenging for me to source a lot of things that were in my plan A. I had to move to plan B. There were times with containers that I had to move to plan C and D, actually. But it's set for now. The ingredients were something that I just wasn't willing to compromise on at all. But the good news is that we did end up with an origin set. The origin sets that I sell, they have an airless pump, which to me was a huge priority. And the second priority was that they would go through airport security. So many of my people would leave their rose mist behind because it just wouldn't go through airport security. And 3-ounce glass containers with a mister top is almost impossible to find. So those little containers that I know I had to replace the washers for several times are somewhat of a miracle item. So anyways, that's kind of like how the origin sets came to be and how they are for now. There's definitely room for improvement down the road. I already have a lot of ideas. However, I'm going to need to run as long as I can with those containers first. So, and I was able to stock up right before things really got hard to source. So that feels really good too. So that's kind of what was happening with the origin sets and my skincare line. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the other branch, so-called, of Skin Harmonics, is my sessions, like these in-person sessions that I give. So you can get on my products, and there's a lot of people that just don't, were physically challenged. They just can't come see me, or they can't come see me for a year or two because I only have 2 locations, Santa Barbara and Denver, or Boulder, near the Denver airport. But a lot can happen with these products. However, if you can ever get to me and I can clean out your skin, it can be life-changing. I am a master extractor and can remove all sorts of stuff from our skin that improves texture in a super radical way. I'm able to get 60 to 70% in one session. And that's why I ultimately don't recommend my sessions more than once or twice a year. I have clients that even skip years. I don't do that monthly spa facial thing where I do superficial work every month. Instead, you have all of that in the Skin Harmonics skincare line. You can give yourself a fantastic exfoliation. You can optimize your vitamin C levels with Bright. Revive is the exfoliation, and you have all 3 serum choices to choose from. And of course, you can give your skin those universals of nutrients and barrier restoration, all the way. And you can do it better than what you'll get if you just go to a regular spa facial. So that's how my in-person sessions are very different than the way that I was taught in aesthetic school, in that normal way of what? Once a year? How is that even possible? It is possible. And definitely find a way to make that happen when you can. And so I wanted to explain that as my in-person deep pore cleansing sessions, as the one meaningful way to get work done. And then lastly, I want to talk about my customer care. So anybody who buys products from me has a lifetime access to my expertise and to support. So I know it's a really big transition for a lot of people to make, and it is a new world. And I love supporting people through that process. And so I have a weekly informational blog. You can go to my website, check it out on Instagram, where I write really good content about all the questions that you guys ask me. So I would say 8 out of 10 times when somebody asks me a question, it's in a blog. So, and they're short. I'm not writing, super long blogs. They're very digestible, potent, bits of information that will directly answer your questions. So there's all of that. Also, I will help you problem solve along the way. Like, I'm used to getting texts and emails and even phone calls, especially for new people as they're trying to navigate this new world and problem solve. Like, I want to just say that everything is figure outable. There's a lot of quirks as each individual is trying to work out how they do their skincare routine with exercise schedules and travel schedules and whatever it is. Like, there's a way to figure it out, and I can help you do that. And I can also weigh in on different products that you want to send me pictures of, or you go somewhere and you get tempted by something that you see, some sexy ad that you see about some procedure. Send me photos of it. I research, I'll weigh in on it and give you my opinion. So I've really, Skin Harmonics I'm basically a resource for you. So that you're not just buying products in every which way, mayhem, bleeding out money because you're just buying all these products in different ways and then confused and overwhelmed at the end of it. Like, I'm going to keep you focused and on track and at least spending your money in the right places. So, which to me is really valuable. I know that early on, before I became a professional, I spent so much money in the wrong directions. And now you guys don't have to. I made all those mistakes for you and, learned so many different things about so many different skincare lines and ingredients and procedures that I can share all that with you guys. So that's kind of the third leg or branch of Skin Harmonics. As you're, diving in and being like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this? I can't tell. So let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Okay, so this is good. I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit of a translation list. And of course, I kind of reinvented the skincare wheel. And I did it because it was worth it. I did it because the effectiveness is just so beautiful and so powerful to see such deep healing in a way that conventional products and procedures just can't deliver. So the reason I did all of this was because of that. It's worth it. And some of these most obvious translations are, instead of being obsessed about cleansing and exfoliating, you're going to become obsessed with how you're going to feed your skin with dermal nutrients, how you're going to give your skin, something that's going to have it make new skin cells in a way that fortifies it and strengthens it, how you can give it what it needs to regenerate itself and also delay aging. So there's this, so start obsessing about dermal nutrients, which is skin food for real, and start obsessing about water, hydration. Like, how can you get your skin to hold as much water as possible? So food and water are the replacement obsession for over cleansing and over exfoliating our skin. And then the next thing would be just getting rid of this oil phobia. So we've also been trained as consumers, and I was taught this, is that we're going to clog our pores with heavy moisturizers. There's all these non-comedogenic ingredients that we have to constantly look for and weed out and weigh and, all of these things. And it's just not true. I have 4 different moisturizers. We'll be launching a 5th one soon. They're all very rich in lipids and oils, because oils are so important to our skin. Our own skin makes oil, and we need to be able to reinforce that with a heavier moisturizer, lipid barrier restoration moisturizer. So we're going to ditch this whole like oil phobia thing that if we put avocado oil or shea butter or cocoa butter on our skin, that we're clogging our pores. Like I can just 110% tell you we're not. And I've got all the pictures to show it. So we have to just release this because old information about how oils are bad for our skin. And then next, there's this sense of protection that I want to educate you and me, and as I've learned this, I want to transfer this to you. There's this protection of wanting to protect, number one, from the sun in intelligent ways, and then number two, like protect our skin from trauma-based procedures. Anything that causes inflammation and a lot of fluid to our skin, like microneedling, microdermabrasion, lasering, chemical peels, all of those conventional industry go-tos, unfortunately destroy collagen and elastin over time. I know there's this big claim that it improves it, and technically speaking, anything traumatic to our skin does stimulate collagen elastin. This is the caveat, not enough to make up for what was harmed. And this is something that has to take a little bit of time to play out. But basically what all of those procedures have in common is that they create a trauma response. Yes, new skin cells. However, when all the inflammation drains away and when the skin has made that repair and tried to bring the skin back into equanimity, our dermal layer thins a little bit. And it's thinning anyways as we age. And so any of those procedures are basically putting really hard miles on our skin that are completely unnecessary. And so that's why we're leaning into the dermal nutrients as a way to increase cell turnover, in a really powerful way, with ever having to go backwards, short term or long term. So there's just this awareness of that in the Skin Harmonics, that we're not going to lean into trauma as a strategy to heal our skin and as a strategy, which sounds insane, but to preserve our skin, we're going to like traumatize it. Now, I understand how this came to be, because we do need to find that sweet spot for positive blood flow. But this can all be had with dermal nutrients and natural techniques to find this optimal place of blood flow where it's increased and optimized, but not cross that line and take us down, a place where we're actually long-term aging our skin faster. So there's that. And then, which is kind of a big realization, to really understand the impact of just seeing that. And I can vouch for it because 30 plus years in the skin industry, I've been on all sides. I actually didn't even believe it the first time I heard it. I just have too much experience to dismiss it at this point. So there's that. And the other thing, that instead of getting all of those trauma-based procedures, I believe it should be replaced with a deep pore cleansing session. Now, extractions are something that you should only find somebody that's very skilled at it. There's all different skill levels available, hit or miss. There's some people that are doing it more superficial and some people that are doing it in a deeper way. But that service is the only thing that's going to affect texture. And texture is really important as an indicator for skin health. And it's also something that helps us have long-term skin health. So a lot of issues from the sun happen in the later years of our lives, when there's these, they're possible precancerous lesions on the skin, and those have to be burned off by dermatologists and all of this thing. Now, we can actually prevent that by getting the congestion out of our skin before those have a chance to form. So extractions do this thing where it optimizes the texture of your skin, but it also, has this other way that it's valuable, that it, will prevent you know, some big problems that you can have down the line from possible precursor lesions that are completely, you know, reversible and preventable. And then lastly, there is this leaning into something that it's microcurrent. It's the lifting and toning of our facial muscles through a device. You can get it done at a spa, but you can also own a device. And it's like Pilates for the skin. It's the only way to add volume to our skin in a holistic way. And it's face yoga or microcurrent. So there's this awareness that those are tools that are available to us, that, you know, we don't just have to go and get volume injections. Like, there's so many things that we don't have to go and do. There's, you know, a full arsenal that we're just not taking advantage of. So Skin Harmonics, I've been able to scout out what all of those things are. Because what's ultimately like the most important, again, is effectiveness and results. And we're after, when it comes to skin health in this way, when we take it serious, we want our skin to be really healthy. We don't want it just to look healthy from first glance. We want it to actually be healthy, and we want it to have a lot of glow, which is the song our skin makes when it's happy, like for real happy. And there's also this, we're placing a value on where our skin will be when we're 70, 80, 90. Now, I'm going to live to be that long. I know I will. And I want to start tracking my skin so that when I'm older like that, it's not going to be a disaster or a train wreck from all of these like shortcuts that the conventional skincare industry told me to take. So, and you know, I do have opinions about how and when to lean into those procedures. And they can be feathered in actually really nicely with the Skin Harmonics method. It's just not overdoing it, not starting it too young, and not doing it too often. So those are all things that we weigh in, so that when we're, you know, 80, 90, you know, 75, 95, like, we still look beautiful. So that is, I think, in a nutshell, what Skin Harmonics is about. I probably forgot a few things, but I know I said a lot, and I hope that this video is helpful for people that have stumbled into my site or heard this as a recommendation from their friend, and then, you know, went to my website and was completely disoriented. Like, where's the chemical peels? Why doesn't she do microneedling? Yeah, it's kind of on purpose. And another resource that you guys have is, I wrote an ebook, and it's on YouTube. I recorded it. There's an audio. It's a 90-minute audio that's on YouTube, and it's my book, Relearning Skincare, The Story of Skin and the New Way. And so you could take a walk, clean your house, and if you listen to this audio, I mean, you'll know more than most of the people in the skin industry right now. And it's a big resource, and it helps you like really understand and appreciate what Skin Harmonics is up to over here. Okay, so this video was maybe a little bit longer than I meant it to be, but I think we hit all the points, and I will see you guys next time.